Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to The Progressive. We continue the series of the children of new consciousness, and one more aspect which we'll discuss briefly here. It's the aspect of authority, the authority figure maybe in person, or the authority aspects as in various texts, various laws, various ideas that are put forth in books, as in history textbooks, or in even science and maths, and every one of these aspects that we are coaching and we are teaching children through the old energy. Now, I have to point back to old energy versus new energy here a little bit. In the old energy, we were taught of books, our textbooks, which we are taught in our education systems, as an authority. This is what happened in history, and this is how people are, and this is how we should behave, this is how we should walk, this is how we should talk, this is how the faiths are practiced, this is what culture is, this is what tradition is, this is what our psychology is, our sciences are, etc., etc. So authority does not mean just in terms of person, an individual, or a human being. Authority can mean in terms of the way the textbooks are being put forward as this, such and such is the truth, and everything else needs to be ignored or not followed. Obedience, the factor of obedience comes there. Either you obey me in such and such a way, and disobedience is disallowed, or dissonance is not encouraged. It is suppressed, it is stifled, and it is bottled up. So wherever a child was in the old energy sensing that there is something off here, or there is something not correct here, was often not brought up, and the child, let it be in the form of their parents or institutions that they were educated in, they were suppressed, they were stifled, they were told to keep their ideas to themselves. They were told that this is the way it is and this is the structure you got to follow, or else. The structure to be followed. Everything was to be followed in a certain way. Everything was about obedience. Even in the way education system was built, even in the way they were taught in schools, everything was a top-down approach. There is a teacher in the classroom, or the professor or the lecturer, and they will teach a whole bunch of kids and ask for obedience, ask for compliance. You have to comply with such and such a thing. Or there are consequences, or you lose their respect, or you lose their participation with you, or you lose their love for you, or if they are your parents, or you lose the culture and tradition and you're ostracized in some form or fashion. So this used to continue in the old energy a lot. As you can read into this has gone on for centuries. Now here comes the shift after 1987, and there's completely new energies on the planet. New children are being born. Now who are these new children of consciousness, and what are they bringing in? The children of new consciousness bringing their own inner authority. And this inner authority of them, which they carry inside their own vibrational field, which they carry in their own hearts and minds, will override any external authority figure which wants to suppress or stifle, as we spoke of. They will not listen to authority. They will appear to be disobedient. They'll appear to rebel against everything. We spoke about the rebel. This is what causes the rebellion, because they bring in a new energy signature, which will bring in their own inner authority to be enforced upon external forms of authority. They do not like obedience. They are not about compliance. You cannot make them comply. This is the reason why these children are having headlong fights with all the corporate institutions. They are having headlong issues with their marriages, with their parents, and everything that the society has constructed so far. This becomes a catalyst for change. This becomes an instrument of modifying, first destroying and then modifying it into something higher. The higher forms of thought and ideas and ways of being will come in only if you stand upon the old ideas, trample them, and form something new and creative out of it. These children come in with the forms of new inbuilt authority. Their inner sense of authority is extremely strong and extremely calibrated with the new energies of the planet, with the physical earth itself. And so they move in directions which become very unpredictable for the older generations. Like, I thought my son or daughter was going to become such and such in profession, or they were going to lead their lives this or that way. They're simply not going to turn up like that. And this baffles all the institutions, all the companies that they work for, because they can't ask them to be in compliance. Authority will not work for them. In fact, they will invent a new form of authority because of what's going on, or has been going on for hundreds of years on Earth. What form of authority will they bring? Well, they will bring a conceptual form of authority. What do I mean by that? The conceptual form of authority means the idea itself becomes the authority. The ideas that they bring forth, which is very neutral in nature, very expansive, includes everyone. There is an inclusivity involved. You include all communities, you include all other countries, you include all other forms. They are very inclusive in nature. So anything exclusionary, these kids will strongly rebel against. They do not like excluding people based on certain ideas because they come with a more heart-centered focus. Heart does not like to exclude anything. It's that simple. Heart wants to include everything. Heart lives in an inclusive energy. The new energies of the planet promote this kind of heart-centered focus. That's one of the big aspects of what is transforming in this earth. And so these kids, because they're born in this energy, they come with that innate sense of knowing. I know this is not correct. I know this is not right. I know something else is right. So they will bring that something else, whatever that something else might look like, they will bring it into focus. And they will bring it through whatever systems that are already there. This is the way transformation will occur from inside out. Through them, through the actions that they will take, through the studies that they will do, through all the branches of human sciences that we know of. It may be in the mainstream science, it may be in humanities, it may be in law, it may be in finance, it may be in any of the study of human society that we have built up. It may be in any field. And these children will work together because of that. They have an extremely good sense of teamwork within their own generation, which is again innate, because they are coming from heart-centered focus. Because you come from a heart-centered energy, this becomes very easy to handle for them. They don't have to study it for years to become mature and understand about heart-centered and how to work. They don't need to understand what leadership is. They're not so much about leadership or a power or an ego trip as it is. As much as it is about connecting with others, they are more about connection points. They are more about connecting with one another across all boundaries, across all race, religions, etc. So, a truly liberalistic sense, these kids are born liberalists. They are born with their innate capacity. This is far more powerful than being educated about it, because if you are just taking borrowed, educated ideas of one kind of teaching or one kind of thought process, this becomes very limited, because you're just taking what is borrowed from the external, trying to package it in a different form and selling it. These people are not about marketing and selling. These kids are more about bringing what they feel like. All parents and teachers and bosses of companies might have seen this very strongly. I'm unable to mold this employee who keeps on rebelling, who always has a different way to do things. Or the parent who might say, these kids are very different. What are they about? Well, this is one of the prime aspects. They are tuned into another energy form. They are not tuned into mind games, into mind processes. It's not about mental stuff. It's not about compliance. It's not about trying to obey something just because I'm told to obey something. So the authority figure in these new children is their inner authority. They will not listen to you simply because you're an authority figure in the external. They would, however, pay extreme close attention to you, listen to you, and work with you if you are the elder. If they are sensing that you come from the heart-centered focus, you are considering all aspects of their friends, of their ones whom they connect with, they will connect strongly with a sense of teamwork. They are not about leadership, they are about teamwork. They are not about individual glory, they are about connecting with everybody. And things like social media and everything that we have in terms of social media, communication tools, etc., they will use these as tools to promote this, to connect with others across the world, across state lines and boundaries, across countries. They will use this as a tool. But they will always look for reinforcement in the external of what they bring from the inside. So you got to remember that's the main focus I'm speaking about here. It's the internal authority they bring very strongly. And this is like an unshakable one. They won't be subject to all the bogus programming that has gone on in this world for centuries. They're not about programming. They're about, I know something to be true and I know something to be false. And I will work in my life to bring all of this from me to the rest of the world. And they have a whole generation of these kids whom they can connect with. And they all agree on the same thing. They agree that this is the way things have to be. They agree that this is the way to move forward in the society, in my personal life, and in general, in my career, whatever it is. This is the sense I wanted to bring forward to you, a sense of authority as an inner authority, not as an external one. A sense of authority which is heart-centered, which comes from the inner heart center, and which wants to go out and implement it, which wants to make it practical, which wants to embrace everything that in its fold. Heart-centered authority is all embracing. It does not exclude things. It does not exclude people. It will not even exclude old ideas, but it will transform them. Transformation happens this way, step by step. And it will happen very strongly because of this, the way these children are coming in. And that's because of the new energies of the planet. Keep this in mind. Take care, be safe, and tomorrow we'll talk about other aspects of these children of new consciousness. Bye-bye.